beautiful day to be a Raider, draped in the silver and black. I represent the shield. I represent the Serbs. And you know what time it is, Raider Nation. Oh yeah, you know what time it is. That's why you're here right now. That's why you take a little bit of time out of your evening to join me. Because you know what time it is. Oh yeah. It's time to bring them.
What's up, Raider Nation? I am the Commish, coming to you live from Hardcore Challenge Live Studios, deep behind the enemy line. This is Raider Reaction, Black Friday, closing out the week. It's been a great week for the Commish, new son born, and a great week with the Raider Nation, talking the silver and black. As we will do tonight, we are going to be discussing the Derek Carr contract talks. Carr greater than luck? Vegas Stadium updates. Marquette King. Marshawn Lynch. Top Raider fantasy football picks. A little trip down memory lane, as we touched on it last night, with Prime and the Commish on Ghost of the Post. I got a little Tecmo Bowl flavor for you. Sup Taz, sup Drea. Thank you for sharing, ladies. So I got a little Super Tecmo Bowl flavor for you. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane on a Black Friday with the Commish. And then an interesting topic that also came up on the show yesterday. And we're going to dig into a little in-depth digging into some old stories that maybe some of us have blocked out, completely forgotten about, but we're going to dig into. We're going to have a little in-depth NFL crime story and dig into some past former NFL players, sup Amber, and that ended up maybe doing some time or are currently still doing time. So, a little NFL crime story for your Friday night. Little trip down memory lane. Maybe some memories we don't want to dig back up. But oh, absolutely, Chuck. He was absolutely unstoppable. The juke, gone. Gone. You always had to break somebody's ankles, though. It's the only thing I never liked about Super Tecmo is that nobody had the breakaway speed. But man, you could break some ankles on the zigzag. So, we've been talking about it for a couple days. It's the non-story that should never even been a story, but it got everybody talking about Derek Carr's contract. Reggie McKenzie has come out over the past several days. He's adamant that Derek Carr, he wants him to be a contract Raider for the duration of his career. Has no intentions of letting him get anywhere. It's just, unfortunately, we all have to talk about this now because the story got brought up. So, he promises to get the contract done. Why would we not believe the guy? It's just, it's painful that I'm even still talking about this. I shouldn't be talking about this. We should be well beyond this. But, unfortunately, which is the reason this story even came up with, to begin with, is because there's really not a lot of football news in the news cycle right now. There just isn't. Basically, at this juncture, if there's big news, it's something bad happening. It's not anything good. Guys are in mini camps, they're in OTAs. Most of the big contracts are signed. LeGarrette Blount was probably the last splash free agent signing I've seen, other than some sort of a head scratcher like Colin Kaepernick ended up going somewhere or something like that. That just makes you go, that's interesting. So that would probably be the only headlining, grabbing type thing that I see. is maybe a signing like that. But what's up, Jennifer? Thank you guys, everybody who joined me. A little Black Friday action, closing out the week of another stellar week with the Raider Nation, talking silver and black every weeknight. Spending 60 minutes with you guys here. Appreciate it. Chris Lynch in the house. What's up, Chris? I added a little Chris Lynch flavor in today's show with a little bit of twist on it. It was a little bit of your flavor, Chris. But it got me looking. It got me looking into the criminal aspect of former NFL players, guys that got into a little big trouble while they were NFL players or retired or afterwards. And yes, I seen that, Chuck. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick going to the Bucs. I don't think it's a terrible move. I think Fitzpatrick is a very, very capable backup quarterback. I think that he should have probably still been the starting quarterback in New York. I mean, they're going with Josh McCown. That guy's as retread as you can get. He's got more jerseys in his closet than me. I mean, that guy's, I think his goal is to collect every single jersey before he retires. And, you know, now he's got the Jets. He's checking the Jets off. My gosh. So, I don't think that's a bad pickup. Fitzpatrick is he's a capable backup. If you throw him in, man, he's a capable backup. So, I don't think that one's bad. That one's bad. Yeah. We'll have to see. He's an interesting backup for Jameis. That's for sure. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see on that one. But Reggie is adamant that the deal will get done with Carr before training camp, that it's not going to be an issue. He's adamant about it, so trust in Reggie as we all should. Man's executive of the year. He will get it done. DC is not going anywhere. So, let's end the week putting that conversation to bed. And we'll start out Monday with not having to speak of that BS story anymore. Because, you know, now if it starts to get a week or two from training camp, you can put a little fire under that story and it may hold some heat then. But right now, it doesn't hold any heat. Not at all. Not at all. So, I've seen a few stories out there comparing, as you, obviously because of this story that came up, there was spin-off stories out of it too. So, I've seen a few of them comparing Derek Carr to other quarterbacks and how he shook out with other quarterbacks who are considered elite and have gotten the big contracts over the past few seasons. One that comes to mind is Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is not, he's not much older than Carr. A couple more years in the season, but in the league, but not that much older than Carr. Carr looks to surpass him after his 4-year stats. So, at least in touchdowns, Carr has turned the ball over less than Andrew Luck. Over the last 3 seasons, Carr's only thrown 31 interceptions to Luck's 41. Yeah, Brandon said, I'm walking home. I got it covered. That is good. At least you live in close proximity, Brandon. Carr has also proven to be more clutch than Andrew Luck. Now keep in mind, Andrew Luck has a 6-year, $140 million contract now. Let's keep in mind the type of money that we could possibly be talking for Derek Carr. The type of money he may be demanding. I mean, not demanding, but his skill set and his talent and the pure statistics that he has brought to the table demands this kind of salary and this kind of consideration. Carr has been credited with 11 fourth quarter comebacks over the past 2 seasons. And Luck has 6. Again, another favorable statistic for Derek Carr. Luck has had the liberty of playing basically his whole career in one of the worst divisions in the league, where the Raiders have been battling in the AFC West, which has been one of the better divisions in the league. That would be crazy, Chuck. That'd be crazy. And I hope they don't string us along like that, because I almost feel like we got strung along a little with the Marshawn Lynch. With the Marshawn Lynch signing. Because, I mean, really? Like, we're the day before the draft, like, you had to string us all the way along till then? I mean, it was talk about it, and then wait till, like, the last minute. I mean, I kind of understand the PR of it, because the day before the draft, nobody was talking about the draft. They were talking about beast mode. So, I mean, the Raiders kind of stole the thunder of the draft the day before. So, I could see him doing something like that. The PR guy's like, oh, just wait a second. You know, but it's a week out. They're signing the deal like, we're going to keep this hush-hush, and we're going to pop this out. We're going to pop this out first day of training camp at the press conference. Because, you know, that'll be the question. Everybody's coming to the table. Oh, my God. We're at a training camp. There's no contract. There's no contract. Oh, man. That would be crazy. That'd be like, you know that. If they did that, you know that was totally planned. So, like I said, I question the Marshawn Lynch thing, too. Carr has just proven that he's at least, I believe, better than on the level of Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck gets a 6-year, $140 million deal. You got Flacco, who's got the over $100 million deal. Matty Ice has one. You look at Derek Carr and he measures up to every one of these, and he's younger, and he's got more potential on his side. Out of the gate, his stats are better than all of those guys across that time period. And, all right, some Patron. That's what I'm talking about. You're not messing around with no tall boys. So, like I said, this is going to be a big money contract for DC. And I think that's why they're getting all of the other stuff out of the way. And then we're just going to focus on him and Gabe Jackson and get those two done. Get those guys locked down. And they're going to be the focus here very, very soon. I don't see any worry about that. That's just... it's just such a BS story that we had to talk about that. Irish whiskey. Whew. Man, you guys are getting after it on a Friday night out there in the Raider Nation. Got a shot of Hennessy up in here. Raider Nation's getting live early on a Friday night. I like it. I like it. All right. I feel like I'm not keeping up. So, one of the other hot news topics, obviously, has been the Vegas lease talk. The coming down to the deadline so they could make the owners' meeting, have the presentation, and get everything laid out that they needed to, and then get the final vote from the owners. So it was unanimously agreed upon yesterday. What's up, Bobby? And puts us right on schedule for where we need to be. So, that's one other little small hurdle. So far, they've hit every small hurdle that they've needed to hit. They got out there, they got the geotechnical testing done. That was A-okay. Got the land locked in. They've got through this lease agreement. They all before the owners' meeting that they needed to hit. That's next week. Now we're going to be ready for that. And the next major milestone that I've got my eye on is shovels in the dirt. I want to see equipment on that site, and I want to see literally... Uh-oh. Dre's got plans. So, That's what I'm watching for. Beginning of the year, first week in January, I want to see ground being broke. Then I think if there's no it's tight, man. To hit the 2020 season is tight. With a 30-month build schedule for this site, it's tight. Very tight. So no bumps in the road. And I know Michael's on the record. He says December 21st. That he keeps saying. He keeps popping in every time I bring it up. He's on the record. I've got it written down, man. He says December 21st. So, but that was good news. That unanimously was voted through. There's been no opposition at any one of these steps that we're having to hit right now, and things seem to be rolling through rather smoothly, which, like I said, is a plus for the entire process. The entire process. So, let's see. Moving on. Again, man, I tell you what. If there's one Raider that's in the Twitter and in the Twitter news more than any other Raider, I ask you, why is it our punter? Why is it always our punter? Did you ever hear from Shane Leckler? Ever? One of the greatest punters of all time. Did you ever hear from him? No. Because he's the punter. Now, Marquette King's he's a great punter. But he's a punter. Why am I always talking about the punter? Because he's always in the news. He's always got something stupid to say. So now he's coming out. But obviously Golden State's in the Western Conference Finals. I'm sure there's a lot of Warriors fans out there. Because, obviously geographically, if you're a Raiders fan, there's a good possibility you're a Warriors fan as well. I don't see the Spurs giving the Warriors much of a battle. And I didn't see anybody giving Cleveland any battle in the East. So, I mean, it was obviously destined to be those two again. And, I have my pick who I think is going to win it all, but I will keep that to myself. For now. But Marquette King comes out and has something, again, absolutely asinine to say. LeBron is better than Jordan. Draymond Green is better than LeBron. I mean, this guy, he just can't stay off the Twitter. He just can't stay off the Twitter. And it's just amazing that he always seems to catch headlines for this stuff. And it's like, it's the punter. It's like, man, to just be like a kid at the family reunion. Seen but not heard. Seen but not heard, Marquette. Just punt for us. Just punt for us. Don't get any flags. Don't draw extra attention. Just punt for us. That's all I really want. Did you hear from Seabass? Seabass ain't ever got nothing to say. No. Well, we always got to hear from the punter. Come on, man. Come on, man. Now, obviously, the big free agent signing is Beast Mode. He is a Twitter addict. I think he's just hooked on it. Maybe he's hooked on it like I am. I can understand. I guess. Obviously, the big free agent signing was Marshawn Lynch. Beast Mode. Like I said, made huge waves the day before the draft. Word is that he is fitting in fabulous with the team. He's meshed in well. He's great in meetings. He's great in practice. He's focused. He's working hard. He's putting forth the effort. And the coaches are happy with him. Reggie has high praise of him. And it just seems like he's really fitting in, which is fabulous news to hear. Because, you want to see out of the gate, obviously. Just hearing that Marshawn is loving it and he's fitting in with the team and is meshing well. I mean, Nate Burleson was high on how Marshawn was going to fit in with this team. And he thought he was the piece of the puzzle that would push him over the top. What's up, Ruben? So, I agree. I mean, Latavius Murray was a good runner. Good running back. I don't think he was a great running back. I agree with not paying him the big money. I agree with letting him go. I think picking up Marshawn Lynch is an upgrade, and we got him for a heck of a lot cheaper. A heck of a lot cheaper. So, I think it was a great move. A great move all the way around. You know, Latavius Murray, hey, good luck to you. You're running behind a crappier line and a much lesser team in Minnesota that's not known for, you know, having the great running game for the past few seasons. And, you know, Adrian Peterson wasn't even getting good statistics anymore behind that line. So, good luck with that. I'm glad you got your money. Glad you got paid. But you probably ain't seeing playoffs this year. And you're going to be watching the Raiders and wishing, damn, maybe I should have took like $3 million a year and had a chance at a ring. But you ain't got no chance at a ring in Minnesota, Tay-Train. That train's going to have a lot of bumps on the track, my friend. A lot of bumps on the track. And I see Beast Mode hitting his 1,000 yards this season. I see Beast Mode hitting the 1,000 yards. I know some of you guys are predicting like 1,700. I don't see that. I think you guys are being a little over-optimistic. Like I said, I don't think Beast Mode is going to be as much the statistical juggernaut this season as I just think he's going to be impactful for the team. I think and there's a difference in that. You know, impact doesn't always show up on paper. Impact shows up in W's and championships. That's where impact shows up in. When you gotta get it, and he's that guy that'll just get it for you when you gotta get it. And, you know, you gotta have that guy. You gotta have that guy that'll just stand in the huddle when everybody knows, everybody in the stadium knows that ball's coming up the middle. You want the guy that stands back there and says, I know they know I'm coming, but still give me the damn ball and I'm going to get it. That's Marshawn Lynch, and that's what we got. And that's a thing. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful toy in the toy box for this season. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. But I think he'll hit the 1,000. I think he will hit the 1,000. I think he's going to get the incentive. And Jimbo, I don't think they're going to want to hold him a yard short. He'd be pissed. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. And cheers. Thanks for taking a little time out of your Friday night with me. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for throwing up the likes. Please share it up. Try to grow the audience. Hey, the more the merrier. We want to paint this country silver and black from coast to coast, corner to corner, all around the world. It's a Raider world as well as a Raider nation. So, looking at the upcoming roster, because a lot of you may be fantasy addicts. What's up with the backup quarterback? Well, David, I will take that. I will field that question. Mr. David Glass just jumps on. What's up with the backup quarterback? The backup quarterback's an interesting conundrum right now. You have E.J. Manuel that was brought in, and there's been differing stories and opinions on why E.J. Manuel was brought in. Is E.J. Manuel just brought in to put a little pressure on Cook, to force him to play a little better, to challenge him, or is he possibly looking at him as the number 2? I think Connor Cook showed well in his efforts at the end of last season. I thought he was handed a very vanilla playbook in the playoff game. Obviously, he came in at the pinch hit in the last game. He was not expecting much action. He was successful on a drive, and like I said, handcuffed him out of the gate. Ooh. No, I don't think he'll start Assassin Angel Eyes. I do not think he will start. No, I don't. I do not think he will start. I believe it's going to be Joseph and Obi possibly Reggie. I don't know. I don't know. Let me finish up with the. Hold on. Let me finish up with the quarterback first. So my thought, David, is that they are going to go with Connor Cook and keep E.J. Manuel as possibly an insurance, or keep E.J. Manuel around to challenge Cook, release E.J. Manuel, and then pick up some third emergency quarterback. So, I think Luani is a great pickup, and he is going to get action, but I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's going to start. I believe we're adding Obi, and with a healthy Carl Joseph and Reggie Nelson. I know Reggie's slipping a little bit, and he's lost a step and all that, but I mean, Reggie Nelson was solid last year, and I think Reggie Nelson's got another good year or two, at least one. I don't think he's a get bumped out as a starter just because you got these young guys. You know, Reggie Nelson coming out of the gate, you know what you're going to get with him, and I don't see the young kid busting in as one of the safeties. I don't see him on the board as a corner, so no, I don't see him starting. I see him getting some plays and getting some action because they're going to want to see what that kid's got out of the gate, for sure. But I agree, Chuck. He's cheap. That's why I don't know what they're going to do with him and what they're thinking. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's an interesting one. That's a battle that I've been trying to keep an eye on closely, is the quarterback battle. I'm interested because obviously we've seen how important it was from last season. We've seen how important it was. No, that tweet was a joke. We don't need Michael Vick. Good God. No way. No way. Yeah, we don't need that guy. Yeah, he'd be a good gunner, Chuck. That guy's fast, man. He's fast and athletic. So, now I know a lot of you guys are obviously probably interested in fantasy football. That's how I got my moniker, the Commish, was my years and years and years dedicated to fantasy football. I started on webcasts, with webcasts several times a week for my fantasy football league, the Hardcore Challenge, hence Hardcore Challenge Live Studios, which is where all the magic began. So, I always throw up the love to where it all began every one of my webcasts. Jets Nation. No, man, there ain't no thing as Jets Nation, bro. There ain't no thing as Jets Nation. You just drop that off there. You just drop that off there. You're not allowed to use that name. Nah, there's only one nation, and we all know that's the Silver and Black Raider Nation, my friend. So, but thank you for joining us on a Friday night. But come on now, come on. Did you go out and buy your Josh McCown jersey? Did you get your Josh McCown jersey yet? Maybe you went and picked up your Hackenberg. Did you get your Hackenberg last season? Yeah, because those are your quarterbacks, bro. This is going to be a rough season for the Jets. You guys are driving for the #1 pick again. But, no. Nonetheless, thanks for joining. Man, Jets fan. You really got to be a fan to be a Jets fan, my man. You really got to be a fan. You got the sand cheese. Oh, man. Somebody's just going to sucker punch Gino again. You know, that's probably all that's going to happen. Man, I give you credit, though. You got to be a diehard fan to be a Jets fan. You got to be a diehard fan to be a Jets fan. I almost don't even want to crack on you too hard. I just want to feel sorry for you. I want to buy you a beer and be like, man. You know, because, I mean, when was the last time the Jets were relevant? I mean, Namath was rocking a fur coat. But, alright. Well, You represent. You represent away there. But just drop that nation, because we can't have that. So, now looking at the Raiders, like I was saying, fantasy football perspective, you've got some top talent on the fantasy football market. Amari Cooper has the possibility to be a very top flight fantasy football wide receiver this season. He went over 1,000 yards last season. He's going to be much better this season. As is his counterpart, Michael Crabtree. Oh, Chuck, you'd have to read hard between the lines to find those 2 wins. I don't see him in there. Josh McCown? I mean, come on. That is about as retreaded as you can get. Absolutely about as retreaded as you can get. I mean, we had Josh McCown. How long ago was Josh McCown a Raider? We figured out that guy wasn't worth nothing years ago. And he's still going through team after team after team. I should put my name up for quarterback. Hey, I'm available, because obviously you just got to throw your name in the hat. Because some of these guys, I couldn't believe he got signed again. It just blew my mind. Like, you were just like, this season, we don't like the quarterbacks in this draft, so this next season means jack. So here's what we're going to do, is we're going to go sign Josh McCown, and we ain't going to win nothing all season, and we're going to have the #1 draft pick, because they must think there's some quarterbacks in that draft. That's the only thing I could think. Because why in the hell else would the Jets go and sign Josh McCown? That's just insanity. Now, see, like I said, you got Amari Cooper, you got Michael Crabtree. These 2 guys are going to be beasts in fantasy football. We got North Idaho in the house. What's up, Frank? Obviously, huge in fantasy football. Big time. You got Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn's going to be a 6-point grabber. He is going to be given the rock when they get down there in short yardage. He's going to be he could be fantasy gold. He could be fantasy gold. Obviously, the captain, DC, Derek Carr. He also could be fantasy gold this season. He is very high on my draft board, as the Hardcore Challenge is rebooting this season, and we've got the biggest season we've ever had, and I am huge. Chuck's feeling savage tonight. He's like, I got a Jets fan up in here. I'm after him, man. But DC has the possibility to have a monster fantasy football season. Monster fantasy football season. And then another one. A new guy. Jared Cook. Now, I'm really intrigued to see how, because Derek Carr loves throwing to the tight ends. He just always hasn't had a reliable tight end. I mean, he's tried to make Clive Walford his man, tried to make Rivera his guy. Neither one of those guys just quite worked out. But you give him Jared Cook. You got to cover Crabtree, Cooper, and Cook on just basic patterns. Just basic patterns. And come on. That's Cook has the possibility of being fantasy gold this season. I've got him high up on my draft board. I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns, and I think he can get some chunks of yardage down the middle of the field. Now, in my league, I don't know about your guys' league, but in my league, we have individual defensive players. And individual defensive players in fantasy football are money. And money is linebackers and defensive line that get lots of tackles, tackles for loss, sacks for loss, and get bonus points for multiple sacks and multiple tackle games. Khalil Mack is money. If you have a defensive individual player in your fantasy football league, Khalil Mack needs to be high on your draft board. That guy is a statistical monster. I've had him on my team the last 2 seasons, and some weeks he will score as well as my running backs. So, Khalil Mack, if you have an individual defensive player, he needs to be high on your draft board. Very, very high. So you've got Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree. Got the quarterback, Derek Carr. You've got the tight end, Jared Cook. And you got Khalil Mack if you got a defensive player. Those guys are all going to be huge. This is going to be one of those seasons where you can be the homer. And if you want to pepper your team with Raiders, you just have to make it by that one rough bye week because you're going to have so many. What's up, Stephanie? So, but there's definitely some Raider nuggets out there in the fantasy football realm for this season to fill your team. I know the commission's team, the Silver and Black Attack. Yes, Chuck. Just yes. They should just yes. Save your energy. Don't waste all your energy on the light work, Chuck. What do you ask for? Somebody actually has to bring some fire. That ain't no fire. We can't get no fire from a Jets fan. They got no fire to bring. They got no spark. So, last night we got to talking right at the end of the show. Prime had brought up the Madden Bowl, and for somehow we got spun off on Super Tecmo Bowl, which was one of my favorite all-time sports video games of all time. I played more seasons on that with my friends growing up than possible. It was basically the first sports game of its kind that you could play multiple users and play a season, so you could have all your friends play together and be able to play an entire season. It had injuries, it tracked stats, it was just so ahead of its time with Super Tecmo Bowl. And they still have a yearly Super Tecmo Bowl championship. It is played in Madison, Wisconsin as the championship. They put out a new cartridge actually every year with the updated rosters in it, and they make upgrades to it, but the basic gameplay is the same. I know, Raider Natalie, I know. We got a Jets fan up in here. But, you know, you just got to kind of, he's the kind of guy in the room, you just sit in the corner, you kind of feel sorry for him because he's a Jets fan. I mean, he's relegated to a season of watching Josh McCown under center. Well, at least Josh McCown until he gets slaughtered. And then what do you got? You got Christian Hackenberg? I mean, oh, man. You guys, it's going to be a long season. Happy first number one draft pick next year, though. Happy number one draft pick. So, what I was looking at is, and I found this fun little chart that I thought I would share with you guys. Just a little trip down memory lane, because I know anybody in my time frame of age had played Super Tecmo Bowl, because it was the smash, man. And let's take a look at the NFC. At the NFC a little bit. These are the best player. What's up, Chapita? These are the best players on offense and defense. I know. Raider Natalie, that is funny, because I made that exact same comment the other day, maybe a month or two ago. I was at Home Depot walking in there with my wife, and I straight up came to a screeching stop in the aisle at Home Depot. And I was just like, my wife's like, what? And I was like, oh my God. I don't think I've ever seen one in person. She's like, what? I said, that guy was draped in head to toe in Texans gear. I said, that was a real life Texans fan in person. So I can understand how you feel, because that was the same way I felt at Home Depot. I was just like, oh my God, they exist. Thought it was like the Sasquatch. It's like Nessie. But they do exist. Even outside of Houston. But I just want to give you a quick little rundown here. These are the best players on the roster of Super Tecmo Bowl. Offense and defense for some of these teams. Now, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles were a hot team on the NFC on Super Tecmo Bowl, man. Randall Cunningham did not give his rights for his name to be used in the game. So if you remember, he was QB Eagles. But he was wicked. He had the bootleg play where he rolled out, and he had a running play that looked exactly the same, and that thing was nasty. So you had him. He was the best player by far on offense. But then you had Reggie White on defense. So that one right there, that was nasty. The Redskins were also pretty good. You had Gary Clark as wide receiver as their number one offensive player, and then Charles Mann was a beast on their outside linebacker on their defense. The New York Giants had Meggett, who was solid at running back. He's their best guy on offense. But Lawrence Taylor on defense was so insanely fast, man. You could about block every freaking extra point with Lawrence Taylor. He was insanely fast. The Lions had Barry Sanders as their best guy on offense, but then they had Michael Kofer was all they had. It is the only place Eagles win football games, Chuck. But I ain't gonna lie, I played as the Eagles sometimes just because I liked having that crazy fast quarterback. Because that bootleg play, you'd catch them 50-50 on that. Because if they'd bite up on the run, you just dumped it over their head. And if they did bite up, then you catch them up with it all the time. Now the Niners were solid on this game. They had Jerry Rice as their money man on offense, and Ronnie Lott was their money man on defense. And that was huge. That was a big time combination. Now jumping over to the AFC, obviously we had the Raiders, who we know who their number one guy was. We all remember, Chuck already said it, man. Dink, 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 dink. Bo Jackson breaking ankles all the way down the field. Bo was the beast in Super Tecmo Bowl. But we had a solid defensive guy too, because we had Howie Long. Howie Long was great. Now look at some of these other teams, because these are just funny. The New England Patriots, their number one guy, their best guy on offense was friggin' Marv Cook, tight end. And the best guy on defense was Ray Agnew. Oh man, they were horrible back then. Now Houston was crazy good, man, because they had Warren Moon on there. We had Warren Moon with Haywood Jeffries, Drew Hill, Curtis Duncan, and Ernest Givens. And man, the run and shoot on Super Tecmo Bowl was wicked nasty. Oh, come on. Bro, you are our home opener. You are our freaking home opener, bro. Our home opener. Do you realize we are... Oh, man, I feel so sorry for you guys in week 2. We are going to completely stomp a mud hole in the Jets. It is going to be ugly. Ugly, ugly. Please, New York fans, don't waste any money. Please don't fly out to the black hole. Because it's a long flight for you guys. That's a lot of money you're going to waste to fly all the way out to Oakland for that beatdown. I mean, just don't even waste your money. We know by going out and signing McCown that you've relegated yourself to you just want the number 1 draft pick. So let's just leave it at that. Let's come on now. Let's not talk nonsense. That's just craziness. Now, Chris Lynch brought up an interesting topic and got me looking into some stuff over the last 24 hours. And there were just some interesting things. A little on the dark side for a Black Friday. So we're going to go a little on the dark side. We're going to talk about some crazy criminals that have been spawned by the NFL. Or crazy criminals that just ended up in the NFL. Obviously, Aaron Hernandez has been all in the news, so we're all very familiar with the Aaron Hernandez story. Basically, convicted of murder of Odin Lloyd. Now he's obviously because he hung himself, he didn't kill nobody now. So which is the dumbest damn law I've ever heard, but whatever. Then I think we're all familiar with the Ray Lewis story as well. Who the story behind the scenes is that Ray Lewis basically paid off these witnesses to go away and change their stories, and the case ended up being thrown out on lack of evidence, and he did eventually serve a 1-year probation for obstruction, but didn't really end up turning into much. But 2 people are dead. Ray Lewis was there, and there's still unsolved mysteries. So unsolved murders. Somebody killed him. Somebody killed him. Why don't we have Ray Lewis come out and give another anti-violence talk? Please. Then you got remember this one, Javon Belcher. This was the guy who played for the Chiefs and went and killed his baby mama and then goes and kills himself on the steps of the facility. That was some messed up nonsense. And you had Ray Caruth, who another baby mama story that he ends up in prison because he tries to go hire a murder for hire to go knock his baby's mama. It just, when you start looking back, there's just some crazy stories. When you start looking at some of the ones that have gotten forgotten, that you forgot were even there. Travis Henry. Travis Henry played for the Titans, the Broncos, and the Bills. He was arrested in connection with a cocaine deal that took place in Colorado on July 15th, 2009. He received a 3-year sentence in connection with cocaine trafficking. Apparently, at all his stops at those 3 teams, he did not make enough coin that he did not need to move some blow. So, and then we're all very familiar with Ryan Leaf. And, you know, the very fall from grace is one of the, you know, him and Jamarcus Russell are obviously running neck and neck for the biggest draft bust of all time. And he'd had plenty of scrapes. Did about 2.5 years in prison over his last scrape. And then, obviously, the most infamous one, I remember, I was, what was I, 19, 20 or so when that happened, was the OJ, you know, OJ and the white Bronco. And, I mean, obviously, that was the biggest sports crime type story that we'll probably ever see in most of our lifetimes. But there were some other ones as I started going through here. Just some honorable mentions or unhonorable mentions. You had Mark Ingram Sr., who money laundering and fraud. He got 7 years in prison, up to 5 years on probation. He actually ended up getting an additional 2 years in prison because of jumping bail to go watch his son play at the University of Alabama. So, I mean, hey, you gotta give him props. He took 2 years so he could go watch his son, so. Now, here's one that's an interesting one. Dave Meggett, the great giant, Dave Meggett, giant great. He got 30 years for criminal sexual conduct and burglary. He had previously been convicted of a misdemeanor sexual battery. So, I mean, that dude, he ain't seeing Dave. Man, bro, that quarterback lineup, I feel so sorry for you, bro. Bryce Petty, yeah, Christian Hackenberg. Now, let's say, I got a question for you. You got to go buy one of those jerseys. Which one are you rocking this year? Because you're going to have to rock one of them. Man, that's painful. Oh, man. So I'm telling you, you guys are tanking this year. Purposely tanking. Jets are purposely tanking this year and going after a very, very high draft pick. They went and signed McCown because they don't see nobody in the draft. Nobody. Hackenberg. He's going to go get him a Hackenberg. See, that's the thing, man. Why'd they go sign Hackenberg and then we don't even see him? They go sign Hackenberg, draft him, and then they don't even play him. No way. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Then, of course, we had Michael Vick. We all know about Michael Vick. You know, did all the time for the dogs. Fighting the dogs. We all know about him. Then you had Keith Wright. Keith Wright was a wide receiver. He ended up getting 114 years to life, plus 120 years, for a series of home invasions, robberies, and assaults. I mean, you got Plaxico Burress. Remember Plaxico Burress shooting himself? And that happened in New York. That's up your way there, Ken. Shoots himself and gets the gun charge due to the New York gun laws. And he ends up getting him a couple years too. A little bump in the road on his career there. Darrell Henley, Los Angeles Rams. Busted for drug trafficking, attempted conspiracy to commit murder. Ends up with 42 years. He's still not expected to be released until 2031. What's up, Levi? So, interesting. Just some interesting little weird little nuggets to throw out there for you on a Black Friday with the commish on RAIDER ReACTION. So, well, this Friday is a interesting one. It'll be the one we remember as the time a Jets fan showed up on RAIDER ReACTIon. A Jets fan. Man, I tell you, it's like spotting a Sasquatch. It's like spotting Nessie. Freaking Jets fan. Man. Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, and Josh McCown. I tell you what, man, you gotta be a fan though, bro. Jets fan. To be a Jets fan, you gotta be a fan. So, that's all I gotta say. You gotta be a fan because, man, that'd be a tough team to root for year after year. That'd be painful. But you did have the same cheese. The Jets, that's optimistic, Chuck. That's optimistic. I mean, it was amazing to me that they were actually relevant there for a brief minute with the sand cheese at quarterback. But then the butt fumble happened and the sand cheese fell apart. Oh my God, Raider Natalie! We have seen the Sasquatch. He has been spotted. We have photographic evidence. The Sasquatch has been spotted. He's a green Sasquatch. He hails from New York. Must live in the woods of upstate New York. He only comes out on Sundays to root for the Jets, rocking his Christian Hackenberg jersey. Eating a Slim Jim. Oh man, a friggin' Jets fan. I'm telling you, I've seen now a full regaled Texans fan at Home Depot and a Jets fan in RAIDER ReACTIon. I've seen it all, man. I've seen it. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Do we got a KC fan? No. No. Oh, no way. KC. Well, I'm going to just pretend I didn't even see that. That guy's just tripping. He's got to be joking. But I can't have a KC fan and a Jets fan up in the party on a Black Friday. Oh, my. That's oh, my God. The Chiefs. Man, we are so going to rip the head off the snake this season. I'm telling you, Chiefs fan. It ain't going to be good. It ain't going to be good. When we meet up with the Chiefs this season, it will not be pretty. This is our year. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes. Nah. There's no need to kick out. As long as nobody is disrespectful in RAIDER ReACTIon, I don't care if you root for another team. If you got the cojones and the stones to come up in here and you want to talk some football, man, if you can keep it clean and you can keep it football, we will kick it back and forth and talk as much smack as whatever you want. I did not ask for flavor, but I will never deny flavor. Hey, all like I said, you bring the fire, bring it. Bring it. But keep it football and we'll keep it moving. But expect to catch it. I mean, what's up with the Chiefs? Patrick Mahomes? And then you go and tell Alex Smith, you know, we're only good for you through this year, bro. So then he's already come out and said he basically feels like this is a 49ers situation all over again. I mean, come on. Whatever. Insanity. Cowboys are not even going to make the playoffs this season. I think they're going to have a reality check. I think they're just going to miss the wild card. I think the Giants are going to win that division. And I'm sorry Cowboys fan, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. My gosh, Chuck, it is out of control on a Friday night. My gosh, I feel like I'm hanging in a seedy bar somewhere. I got surrounded by Chiefs fans and Cowboys fans and Jets fans. My gosh. It's like a seedy bar. Exactly, Raider Natalie. It's like, smells like queefy Sasquatch. Oh, what happened? Well, this train got derailed at about the last 5 minutes here. But I'm serious on the Dallas tip. Hey, and I ain't just being a hater. I think Dallas is going to have a reality check this season. They peaked high above their curve. High above their curve. There's a possibility. I see possible outside chance of the Cowboys grabbing the wild card spot. It's a possibility. Because I really don't think the Eagles are going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. And I think the Skins are going to really not be good. And they're going to be dead last. Oh, yes, James. Absolutely. Carr wins MVP. Raiders win the Super Bowl. I am on the record for that. I've been on the record for that since a while now. I'm putting that proclamation out there. What's up, Lance? So, start of a bad joke. Oh, man. I tell you what. It's been an interesting way to end the week. So, if you never joined me before, I hope you'll join me again. If you're just joining me, again, thank you. Thank you for stopping in on a little Black Friday action. Talk a little silver and black with the commish on Raider Reaction. I am here every single weeknight at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. We go coast to coast for 2 solid hours. You get a solid hour here on the East Coast. Then I throw it deep to the West Coast to the infamous Raider Bear for another solid hour. And I do believe the Bear even gives you 2 on Fridays. So I think you got 2 solid hours of Raider Bear coming up after the commish. So, some more Raider flavor. Kick it over to the Bear right after that. All of Raider Reactions webcasts are all archived on my YouTube channel. Hardcore Challenge Live Studio Webcasts. Check it out. Ken, I feel sorry for you. To the Jets fan in the corner. I feel sorry for the Jets fan in the corner, but you know what? Thank you, Lance. Thank you for all of... Hey, it's football. We all love it. And if we can all talk and kick and poke at each other, hey, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a Raider Nation. Thank you all for joining me. Again, my little Black Friday special. Finishing out another week right here on Oakland Raiders football. Matthew, they probably ain't making the playoffs. That's what about them. That's what about them. That's what about them. But I'll be back here Monday with another edition of Raider Reaction featuring Ghost to the Post with Prime and the Commish. We can spin it league-wide, break down all of the league action from all around the NFL with a little Raider flavor on the side. So, tune back in Monday. I'll see you all next week. And you may get lucky, and I may pop in for a little weekend surprise session with the Commish Q&A. So, stay tuned. But for sure, I will see you Monday. So, as always, keep it silver and black. Peace, love, Raider Nation.